Welcome, Will Ferrell, to the podcast. We were not anticipating such a big name coming on the podcast. We are happy to have you.
You got so lucky because my podcast schedule during quarantine has lit up.
Yeah, I've noticed. I saw that you went on the LAFC one, so we were just watching
it's only the second one, and I'm happy to do it. And yeah, I mean, Benny, you were such a big start of LAFC, and it was always fun to watch you play, and so thankful for everything you brought to the club to start us off.
Yeah, I feel the same way. It was an awesome season there. I wish it could have been more, but sometimes, business gets in the way.
It was my decision, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
I got into Bob's ear, and I was like, what are we thinking about Benny? Yeah.
All right. So anyway, this is how the podcast works. I don't know. I'm sure you've heard plenty of these before, so you kind of know how it goes. But just to reiterate, we'll start with some quick hitters where I'll ask you some warm up questions. You get those out of the way. You get warmed up. You start feeling good. We'll get into some interview questions just about your life, your career in soccer, in showbiz, all that kind of stuff. Growing up in Irvine as well, just like myself. Yep. And then at the end, you probably don't know this, but Ike will get to interrogate you in Ike's interrogation, and he gets 5 questions where you get to plead the 5th one time.
Okay.
If you go all 5 questions without pleading the 5th, you get to ask any question to any of us 3, which we must tell the truth. So if you feel comfortable that you're going to answer all 5, then start thinking of some good questions for the end of the show.
Okay.
They're going to be tougher. That's the toughest part of the segment.
Yeah, as long as I don't have to eat hot wings, I'm good.
I actually saw that. How hot was the last one?
It's horrible. The last 3 are horrible.
Okay, yeah. It looked like you're struggling, yeah.
And then to bring it all the way back full circle to soccer, I had finished that interview, and I was literally in the stands of my son's game at Harvard Westlake, just my stomach just churning, full of hot wings, just going
and milk.
And milk. Yeah, it was horrible, really horrible.
Well, I'm glad that we won't make you do that here. We actually had a similar story with our last guest that ate the hottest chili pepper in the world, and he didn't realize it was going to stay in his mouth for 5-6 hours. That was Rob Stone. So,
was that a ghost pepper?
No, I guess it's hot. I thought it was a ghost pepper.
Oh, hotter than
yeah. It's like the hottest one ever. So I don't remember the name of it, but impressive. But
yeah.
All right, so let's get going. This is the first question's an easy one. Well, at least for us. We're gonna put in our opinions, and then you get your own opinion. Most underrated movie / character, because mine's more of a character, movie or character that you've ever been in or played. So I'll tell you mine.
Okay, please.
I don't know if you saw my name there on the Zencastr. Franz Liebkind.
Franz Liebkind. Yes, I noticed the Franz Liebkind.
And so I watched the old producers. My dad maybe watched the old producers, then I watched the remake, and I'll say that that's one of your most underrated performances.
For me, my choice was Semi-Pro, and not necessarily Jackie Moon, but the whole movie in general. Because all of my friend groups, all your other movies are usually what they go to first. I always went Semi-Pro. And my Zencaster name last night was Monix, just because.
I missed Monix. Yeah, exactly.
And mine is not. So mine was Night at the Roxbury, but Ike is not accepting that answer. So I'm gonna go with the Other Guys, which is another very good one.
Other Guys.
What's yours, Will?
I'm gonna go in definitely in terms of the undervalued is and still very few people know about it is Casa de Mi Padre, a movie we did entirely in Spanish.
I've never heard of it.
I know about it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know about it.
No idea.
I know.
I had an idea to basically, I would flip around TV and every now and then land on a Spanish language telenovela, and they would always just crack me up. And I thought, it'd be so funny to put someone from American comedy in the center of one of those movies. And so we pitched, we pitched this whole movie of, that I would put myself in a Spanish language film, and it's myself and Diego Luna, and I speak Spanish the entire movie, subtitled, and it's about this family and this drug cartel and all this stuff like that, but and it just came and went. It only had a very small distribution, but for people who have seen it, they give it 5 stars.
Well, all the people that listen to the podcast might go listen to it, watch it now.
So we have
we'll promote it.
We have 50 more people now.
Hey, you're undervaluing us now.
Yeah, you're selling us short. You don't know yet. He doesn't know.
All right, Casa de Mi Padre, love it. I'm gonna check that out though.
And I would add another one that Kristen Wiig and I did. We made a Lifetime movie, a movie for Lifetime.
Really?
Yes, called Deadly Adoption. That is
this is right up my wife's alley.
We just do a straight Lifetime movie with. And if you watch it with a comedy brain, you'll laugh your ass off. If you're watching it going, wait, is this a real Lifetime movie? It like fools you, and we're so proud of it because it messed with so many people's heads.
Okay.
Yeah. So those two, those
couple
are
of good
two
answers.
Yeah.
All right, we're moving on to best athletes now, and there might be some mixing and matching here. So best athlete, you got to rank these 4 athletes: Ricky Bobby, if you can consider him an athlete.
Right.
The Italians, Jackie Moon, and Carlos Vela.
I would the Italians from Kicking and Screaming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I would probably rank Ricky Bobby last. He just has to sit in a car, even though if you've ever driven a NASCAR at high speeds, which we had to do when we were filming the movie, it is harrowing, and you have much more of a respect for that sport. However, you are sitting there for 4 hours doing nothing other than wetting yourself.
Yeah, in your pants.
So I would say Ricky Bobby 4. I would say Jackie Moon probably 3rd.
No, I won't accept it.
I
won't accept it.
He's more of a game manager. Even though he was masterful at the granny style free throws. In fact, I had of all people Barack Obama give me shit about my basketball game because he said, I go, we should play basketball sometime. It's like, yeah, that'd be good. But I've watched you play. I'm like, yeah, I'm not bad. He's like, nope, I've seen semi-pro. I've seen semi-pro. You're not that good. I would rank the Italians 2nd because those kids were actually kind of incredible and literally didn't know any English during that role. But the technical advisors in the movie would just teach them tricks and they would pick it up just like that. And then of course Vela has to be number 1.
Okay, I thought maybe you'd throw Carlos somewhere in the mix instead of number 1, but
I was being too serious with my answer. Yeah. Carlos he's pretty good.
He is pretty good. All right, next question. This is a twofer. So you've worked with a lot of guys, and these guys and Sal and Ike both wanted me to cut these down a little bit, but I couldn't do it. So I'm gonna give you 10 names.
Yeah.
And if there's any more, you can add anybody else. But I want to know who is out of those guys your best friend actually off camera, off the screen. So you got Chris Kattan, you got Horatio Sands, you got Steve Carell, Mark Wahlberg, John C. Reilly, Owen and Luke Wilson, Ben Stiller, Vince Vaughn, and Danny McBride.
So who? Well, I mean, gosh, I haven't talked to. Danny lives on some island in South Carolina, so I lost track of him. John C. Reilly is probably who I'm closest with. We text all the time, and
he's always you're in the same movies together.
We do a lot of things creatively, and Yeah, John will just be like, what are you doing Wednesday? Let's go to lunch. What about ribs? I'm like, okay. And we go to eat ribs. I don't know. We do random stuff like that. And I'm trying to think, everyone else on that list is probably the showbiz level friendship.
Right. Yeah, we got plenty of those in soccer too.
Yeah, where you kind of see each other.
Right. If you see each other, you're friendly.
I did get got an email from Ferrell out of the blue saying, "How are you doing? Are you safe and sound?"
He's trying to get in a Zoom party.
Maybe he was trying to get on this podcast. Who knows?
Yeah,
well, you can let him know that we might have some time.
Yeah.
And the second question of that is, are there any of these guys, and I could list the name again, but you can come up with the name on your own, who's the most opposite of the characters that they actually play in movies?
The most opposite.
So do you get what I'm saying by that? Just maybe not a more serious guy. So one thing that I've always heard from in like interviews and stuff from like Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld is that George is not like George at all.
Oh yeah.
So anybody like that you
that's kind of true. That's kind of typical of a lot of people who do comedy. I'm trying to think of what each. I would say, I mean, Vince Vaughn is very much that fast talking kind of wheeler dealer type of guy. Yeah. And I don't know. I'm stumped on that one.
No worries.
Yeah.
We gave you a lot of names. So
I failed.
No, we didn't give you names. Benny gave you a million names, and we were like, "Don't do that."
All right. Well, let's move on. Those are the quick hitters. And the first thing that I wanted to say before
Horatio Sands
is the opposite.
He's probably not as much of a madman as he's played on. He's kind of toned his whole thing way down.
I see.
Yeah, I would have to say that.
All right. So first question of the actual interview is, who are you going to call from someone?
I'm at my internship here. So
you going to answer it?
Watch this. Oh, it got answered. Done. I was going to. I didn't recognize that number. And I was about to just totally hang on.
So first question for the interview is, I'm sure everybody's wondering, and Sal has 3 kids, 3 girls, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah.
Poor him, right? I've got 3 kids.
I got 5 years old too, which adds
under 5. That's under crazy.
5, yeah.
Wow.
That's the same as me. I have 2 girls and a boy under 6, I guess. The oldest is 5. So our question to you is, give us some advice how to keep your house sane in quarantine with 3 other younger humans.
You won't be able to. No, it's you guys are screwed, as you know. Are you allowed to bring like a garden hose into the house at all? Like a high-powered hose?
No, but we can kick them out.
We kind of run our house like a benevolent prison right now. There's just a lot of screaming and yelling, like not a lot of back and forth, just like 11 o'clock, lights out, let's go.
Slide the food under their door.
Yeah, I mean it because we have 16, 13, and 10. So at a certain point, all the modern day versions of parenting, which is, negotiating and let's, now we give them choices. I never got a choice.
Yeah.
It was like this is what's for dinner, but all of those rules go out the window at a certain point, especially as they get older. You just sort of you just become your parents and and just say, we're just doing this because I said so. And I pay I do a lot of no, that's not your phone because I pay the bill. It's my phone. And so, but But that, by the way, that is what you guys, you haven't gotten into the phone will be, you will begin to hate the phone with such a passion.
Right now, it's my only escape. Right now, it's my only escape from like sanity.
But once the kids get the phone, oh, it's like Gollum with the ring.
Yeah.
They're like, my precious. Yeah, you cannot. And it's the only thing that the threat of destroying the phone. And I'll just go like this, and I'll go, guys, what's this? What's this? They're like, I don't know. What are you doing? It's like, this is the motion of me with a hammer destroying your phone. And they're like, okay, we'll stop. So that's the only thing that has any power. The threat of
the ultimatums, right?
The ultimatum of taking away electronics.
Crazy. Yeah. That's the same that I've had. I mean, Sal, so.
If I take away their iPad, they're lunatics. So,
hey, Will, I want to give you a little more.
Hi,
got a call.
I'm doing a podcast right now.
He's got a hard line.
Oh, that's okay. By the way, guys,
get a hard line. Seen that before.
They're still,
always good in quarantine. The hard line. I'm the only celebrity who still has a hard line. That's some insight.
That's impressive.
Wait, I was calling because we have to have a plumber to come because the toilet overflowed.
Oh, we just had the toilet overflow.
So,
wait, which one?
The new fancy one.
Oh,
because
okay.
Matthias, by mistake, dropped a cardboard roll in there,
yeah.
and he just tried to flush it down because he didn't want to fish it out.
He was doing the toilet paper challenge.
On the toilet.
That is amazing.
But we all have to wear masks, so I'll tell you when he's here. So.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Okay, so newsflash, Matthias, the 13-year-old, just tried to jam. He dropped half of a toilet roll into the toilet.
That's precious. It's like flushing dollars down the toilet.
The perfect timing, talking about kids.
Instead of trying to fish it out, because he's too lazy, and he just tried to flush it down, and now it's exploded. So the plumber's on his way. All right.
I was about to say, I'm going to give you some soccer rep right here. I remember the first time that we spoke early in the year in 2018, I think it was, whose house was it?
It probably was Peter's house.
No,
maybe?
Was it Peter's? No, I don't think it was Peter's. I think it might have been Larry's. Yeah, it was Larry's.
Okay, Larry's. Yeah.
So we were at Larry's house, one of the owners for LAFC, and I got to meet you there, and we spoke a little bit. I remember you telling me that, your sons played soccer, and you're trying to understand. And you played, I think, right? You played at University High School, right?
No, I just played club, and then actually when I got to high school, I started playing basketball. So
okay,
yeah.
But you had a background in soccer, but you wanted to learn more about it. And then I remember the last game of the year, the unfortunate event against Iko Par over there and Sporting Kansas City.
Yeah.
We were walking down the long hallway at Children's Mercy Park and get back on the bus, and we were talking about the game. And I remember, maybe you don't remember this, but I remember you talking about it and really understanding not only what had happened in this game, but what our strengths and weaknesses were kind of as a team, and kind of, we were talking about how we looked going forward into the playoffs. And so my question is, one, I think that you immersed yourself into soccer throughout 2018, and I'm sure since, but like, how has that ride been from the beginning till now?
Well, I mean, it's I was and I'm sure you guys went through this yourself. Well, you're much younger than I am, but as a kid from the 70s, I was the weird kid in my neighborhood who my mom signed me up for this thing called AYSO. Everyone was playing normal sports, and then she's like, I signed you up for this thing called soccer. I'm like, what? And that's when, but I loved it right from the beginning. And that's when the coverage, the only coverage you could get on anything, this is obviously pre-cable, they used to do a weekly show on Sundays on PBS called Soccer Made in Germany. I don't know if you ever heard of this show, but it was like an old-fashioned, just a highlight show of the Bundesliga. And I just remember sitting there watching this grainy footage of, and that's when like the European leagues play with the all-white ball. like the Premier League. And so I've always loved the game. I've always I kind of got talked out of playing in high school because I was 6'1.5" as a freshman in high school, and everyone came to the basketball games and no one went to the soccer games. So I was a star of the freshman basketball team, which was the highlight of my sports career, by the way. MVP of the basketball team, co-MVP of the football team, and never to be heard from again. But if I had stuck with soccer, I probably would have started on varsity as a freshman, and that was like going to be such a big part of my life, and it ended up not, in a way. So to have the chance to be involved with LAFC, and then to be able to kind of watch from a more intimate place, watch the games with people from the ownership, talk with the coaches, this and that, and to kind of be able to pick apart what was happening on the field and have a better understanding that's just been so much fun. And I have to say that I think, a lot had been made about how big the LAFC ownership group was, with 30 people and all this. They kind of took advantage of Hollywood in a good way, I think. But I have to say there's a lot of people in that group who really know the game pretty well, and earnestly like talking about the players and strategy and this and that. So I've been able to kind of get that much more informed just going to our games and watching the league.
So are you gonna? I know you wanted to ask him something about some of the trips that he's been on.
Yeah. So you traveled down to Lyon.
Yeah.
With the team. Like, how was that experience overall? Like, was it kind of what you expected, or?
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect. I mean, it was great. It was making us laugh because they had like 2 massive bodyguards with us wherever we went, and we just didn't really need it. And there was 2 massive bodyguards in a hotel that was relatively empty, and just following. I'm like, you guys don't have to make, like, nope, we want to make sure everything's good. And I was like, okay. But that was so fun to kind of to travel down there to get to experience that stadium, that following. What was cool was the level of appreciation from the Lyon side that we had made the trip down there, and the Lyon fans and that ownership group, they were just really like, wow, thanks for coming all the way down here. This is so cool. And there was a real outside of who was going to win or lose, there was a real kind of shared kind of interest in just getting to play the game, and we got to walk on the field, and I was also amazed at how many people, how many of the Lyon fans even knew who I was. And I would say 90% of them were like waving and like, thanks for coming, and then 10% were giving me the finger. And
it's always great going down the Mexico.
It's always great.
It is.
But it was a combination of like, give me the finger and then laughing and then waving. It was like there was a very while they wanted to beat LAFC, they still like I said, they were just excited that people made the trip.
Yeah, and then you guys pulled off a miracle.
Yeah.
Bob won't call it a miracle, but the fact that you guys lost 2-0 in Mexico and then came back and won 3-0 at home.
So crazy. Yeah.
It's pretty close to a miracle in terms of like historical MLS comebacks.
Pretty close, and pretty such a great win in the sense that they didn't really have to do much except, park the bus in front of the goal. And those guys somehow got 3 goals. It was crazy.
Yeah, I think it could have been more, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys were on top of them pretty much from the get-go, and It seemed like a matter of time. It was whether you guys were going to be able to get those 3 goals before the end of the 90 minutes.
That's kind of the magic of that 3-2-5-2 and that base of that fan base there at Bank of California Stadium, and just that is, that atmosphere is at least, I think, a goal or 2 goals difference a lot of times.
Axel Breakers.
Is the plumber yet? Oh, never mind. Okay. This house is a lot of activity.
A lot of stuff going on. Yeah. All right. I want to bring you back to the last game when I was still there, 2018. We went to play Sporting Kansas City. My good buddy, who wasn't a good buddy that day, Matt Beasler, if you remember, he called you out on a radio show saying, I see this guy having fun out there, and why doesn't he come over here and check it out what it's like here?
And I did.
Yeah.
And how did that go?
And the rest is history.
I was behind him in warmups when you were talking a little bit of shit to him. I started laughing. You were just shouting. He actually didn't recognize, or he didn't hear you for the first time.
I don't think so. Yeah.
But then you finally got his attention, and you gave him the "I see you" look with the eyes, and I was just laughing.
And his head kind of whipped around like, "Whoa, you're here!" And then he kind of went, "Hey, have fun today."
Standard
As if
Such
I
a
was gonna,
Beasler comment.
okay, yeah, I will. I'm going to be in a box drinking beers, watching you guys try to kill each other. I will have fun. But I was It's funny that he kind of threw down the gauntlet there, because I was planning on trying to come to that game anyway. So, but you know what? That was just another. That obviously, Benny, it would have been nice to have won that game, but it was just another, every time you get to go see a different stadium and see the other fans and all that stuff like that. And also you get to see how many fans from LAFC travel and that sort of thing. Yeah. It's always still a positive experience.
Yeah, that loss hurt, but I wouldn't say it hurt nearly as much as the Salt Lake game after that.
Yeah.
The Salt Lake game after that, we didn't deserve that, did we?
That was a shocker. Who was the guy with the weird karate kick goal?
Krylak.
Yeah. I just couldn't believe that one went in. That was just bizarre.
Yeah, and then Walker banged one off his nose or something. They had 3 goals off of 2 shots. That I still can't.
Yeah. I know.
Can't process that one.
I know.
But yeah, that's soccer.
That's the game. Yep.
That is the game. Who's gonna ask this man about El Tráfico? Because I can't do it since I was part of it.
You can go ahead, Ike. I know that you love this topic.
No, that's not necessarily love this topic. I've never played a part of it.
El Tráfico.
Yes.
The name that no one likes that's still going to stick. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
It's definitely sticking.
For me, it's must-see TV. Every single game. I was at an NFL game here in Minnesota on the playoff game. I left at halftime because I said, I'm going to watch this playoff game. I was with a bunch of guys.
Yeah.
You want to come with me? I'm leaving at half. If you're not coming with me, I'm gone. I left at half. They texted me like, where'd you go? I want to ride. And I'm driving off, and they're running down the street to try to get in my car because they wanted to watch as well. So we've had a lot of Galaxy guys on and a lot of LAFC guys on. We've had their perspective of El Tráfico. I kind of want to hear it from, an ownership's perspective of what those games are like to witness, to be a part of, what was going through your mind, and pretty much all of them, because people lose their minds, really.
Yeah, they really do. And you hear about the Galaxy fans ripped up a bunch of seats at one point.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Literally ripped them out of their moorings, and then I saw some video of LAFC Galaxy fans, start to rumble, and it was just an LAFC fan kind of knocked a guy's styrofoam cooler out of his hand, and the beers exploded, and then everyone's like, and nothing really happened. So I think it's a beautifully heated rivalry to the point where nothing's really going to happen in a dangerous, violent way. I think it, but it is amazing that it's from the get-go. It's been two teams that obviously Galaxy with all the history and all the championships, and I know from a LAFC really has to. I know Tom Penn has talked about this before. The Galaxy had to allow for their. I guess they had some sort of rights thing where they could block another team coming to LA. So, LAFC really owes a lot to the Galaxy in a way for allowing another team to come to LA. But they were smart and they were right. It would just make the marketplace that much stronger, and it'd make soccer that much more. Because when have you talked about soccer this much in Los Angeles?
Right.
Yeah.
It really became combustible right away.
And in that same sense, so this is my question, because as a player, you never think about this. And that game, the very first game against them where we lost 4-3 was, besides maybe the last game of the year where we lost in the playoffs, was the ultimate low. And that was only the third game of the year for me and probably most players. But I'm wondering if, as an owner, do you guys, as much as you guys want to win that game, do you guys take solace that you lose in such a crazy way that it's going to generate a rivalry right away? Is there that in the back of your head?
I think it's perfect theater, and you had Zlatan, making all of his proclamations and kind of going after Carlos and Carlos going, wait a minute. I love how Vela at first was like, he's very good too. And then it was like, all of a sudden it was like, wait, shut up. I'm the best player in the MLS. What are you talking about? Like, even Zlatan pushed a player like Carlos Vela, who's, pretty diplomatic, to kind of go, no, you need to be quiet. And, but I think it's, I think both sides were probably really happy that, not only is it a great rivalry, but there's already been just some amazing games. And, I think it's going to be one of those matches, the couple times both teams will play each other in the future. It won't matter. It'll be that cliche thing of throw the records out the window. Teams will rise up to play at a different level when those two teams play each other.
Yeah, definitely. I wonder what it's going to be without Zlatan, because he was definitely a focal piece in terms of like the rivalry beginning.
No question. So, yeah.
I'm curious to see how those games will play out now.
Yeah.
All right. So you might not know this, but we have PIs all over the league. We have insider information on
Hollywood
people
as well. We have them in Hollywood.
We have them in Hollywood. Yeah. We might know some people that you actually don't.
Quite an operation. I had no idea.
So in this quarantining COVID-19, difficult situation that we're in, I'm hearing that there's been some video conference calls amongst some of the higher ups at LAFC to figure out things that need to happen, and I'm hearing some engineer jumped in on one of these calls.
Yes, there was someone who works in the basement of the of the stadium who actually got in on the team-wide Zoom conference call for that week and asked Bob Bradley a couple questions. First of all, he had I can't find his wig. He was wearing a wig.
Bob was, or the engineer?
The engineer.
I would have loved if Bob was wearing a wig.
Shoulder length hair, and was asking Bob if he was jealous of his hair, which I don't think Bob thought it was too funny. We did it. We surprised. They just have a weekly meeting, and Larry Freeman asked if I would jump on and be like a surprise guest, but then I wore a whole costume at the same time. So that was pretty fun.
I heard there was some teepee missing as well in the.
I complained about people stealing the toilet paper, and that the fans were not going to have a quality experience if we don't have any toilet paper, and that's my ass on the line.
Literally, huh?
I'm in charge of that stuff. don't mess with me. Yeah.
That's great. So, I had a couple questions. Are you guys going to jump in, or am I just going to run down my questions?
So this is kind of off topic real quick, but so my family has a few restaurants in San Diego, right? They're looking to add another one to their portfolio, and I've heard that you've eaten at one quite a bit with some friends. The name of it is Charlie Lancer's. No, I don't know if you remember it.
Yeah, didn't it burn down to the ground? I thought there was some arson involved.
Okay.
Good old Charlie Lancer's. Yeah, of course.
Steakhouse, right?
It's a classic place.
Is it a steakhouse? Was it?
I think it was a steakhouse.
Yeah,
steak and fish. Good piece of fish you could get there. Yeah.
Perfect.
So yeah, you should invest on it.
Yeah, maybe we'll build it from the ground up. Yeah.
I know. Is it a good time to open a new restaurant right now?
Yeah, probably not.
Probably not.
You got to have a drive-through.
Yeah.
So with your experience going, in MLS, what stadium? 3252 is great. I love playing at LAFC, which I'm 2-0 there. Just so we're clear. I'm 3-0-1 against LAFC in general. I'm riding the wave.
I'm gonna have to remember to run onto the field and tackle you during the
Hey, you guys should sign him, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
I can't say anything contractually right now, but so what venues have you gone to that you've been really impressed with, just in MLS, or maybe that you weren't impressed with? I don't know.
I mean, I haven't gotten to go to that many. I've been up to Seattle, but that was for the first game.
Yeah.
And, we were just all so enamored with the fact that this was the inaugural game for the club, and we could have been playing at, I don't know, some Federal Way junior college, and it would have been exciting.
Yeah.
But that was obviously a cool experience. And then last year we went up to Portland, and that was fantastic. That's a fantastic atmosphere up there. And otherwise, I've those are the only two road games, and Kansas City. But Beasley kind of spoils that place. So
Beasley is another player.
DeMarcus Beasley.
Yeah, DeMarcus Beasley is another player.
But I call Beasley.
Oh, got it.
Or Bessler.
No, I would like to. I'd like to kind of try to, check out more of the road.
Yeah.
Atlanta's a good one. Atlanta's a good one.
Yeah, that looks amazing on TV, and it'd be fun to. It'd be fun to go watch. I don't know how much longer they're going to play in Yankee Stadium, but that'd be fun to just. Even though that turf.
Well, now they're playing at the Met Stadium, MetLife or Shea or whatever.
Oh, they switched over there.
Well,
Citi Field. It's not Shea Stadium from 1997.
You get it wrong every time, Vinny. I don't know how.
I just remember Shea Stadium is.
Mike Piazza is still out there, man.
As long as they're not playing at the Meadowlands. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think they're splitting some games. Well, now there's no games, but I don't know. Yeah. I remember they were going to play some Champions League games at the Met Stadium. So,
but then there was big talk of a soccer-only stadium in Manhattan that was going to be built.
Really?
But I don't know
that for a while. I think.
I don't know who could afford that.
In Manhattan would be impressive.
That'd be impressive. Yeah,
that would be. You mentioned going to Portland, and I heard another little inside story that there was some late parade that night.
There was, we had to walk. We couldn't get an Uber back to the hotel, so we literally had to walk back from the stadium through. They have some electric parade. They have a parade that takes place at night. And that I don't even know what time of year it was. March maybe.
No, that was when you guys played them last year. I think it was like middle of the year because it was their first game that they had opened, so it must have been like June. Or something. It
wouldn't have been that late. Must have been May.
Really?
Or early June. But yeah, they have some. It was the weekend where they have this nighttime parade they have every year, in which they had things like so it's like high school marching bands and things like that. But then they had like 7 DeLoreans lined up from Back to the Future, like this a car driving club. You could only own DeLoreans that had all these Christmas tree lights on them. And so I started marching with one of the bands, and they didn't notice that I was marching along with them. So that was exciting.
Portland weird. Keep Portland weird.
Yeah, Portland.
Sal played in
I
Portland.
was there for 3 years. Yeah,
and he had a food truck.
I had a food cart there. Yep. And
Nice.
it was a good experience, and I still got a lot of love for those fans.
That's a great. They love their soccer up there.
Yeah, they do really well.
They get overlooked these days with all the new teams, but they're up there.
They're one of the original. Yeah.
All right. One of the last questions that I have in terms of the interview before, giving Ike the reins, which is always the worst part of the interview for you guys.
I hope the plumber doesn't show up and we have to go.
So last question for me is, you invited Matthew McConaughey to come to one of the games last year.
Yes.
And I remember watching that game, and this man was feverishly writing down notes in his journal somewhere,
Was he?
notebook. Yes.
Okay.
So I'm wondering, what advice were you giving him for him to be so adamant to write these things down?
I just remember he was documenting everything with his phone. And God, I didn't remember. Did he bring a note? I didn't even remember that part.
I saw several times when the camera would be on him, he'd be writing something down.
I think who knows?
His emotions.
You don't remember telling him
his emotions during the
game. He was journaling. Yeah. He was feverishly journaling. He's probably writing song lyrics that were coming to him. No, it's funny that I didn't notice, because I would have gone like, what are you writing in that book? Like, watch the game. I do know he was kind of blown away by the whole experience, and he's very into, I don't know with our current situation right now if the plans for the team in Austin are still on track, but he was asking me a lot of questions that I was like, look, I don't know. I'm just like the show pony here for the team. I don't really know how the economics work on all this stuff. But
just take my money.
Yeah, he was really into all the facets and breaking it down, and a lot of smart questions that I didn't have the answers for.
But he definitely wrote something down. So
he wrote something down. So I'll have to text
maybe
him
what not to do.
What was in your journal that you were writing at the game? Can you please reveal it?
All right. Well, those are all the questions I had. Sal, you got anything else before I?
No, that's good. I think we can...
Wait, Sal, what was your food truck? What did you
sell? So it was called Zizo's FC. So Zizo's my last name, FC, food cart, also football club, kind of. Gotcha. Nice little pun there.
Right.
And like I said, my family has Italian restaurants in Little Italy, San Diego. So we did like some calamari, some meatball subs.
And were you
cannolis.
Actually in the food truck working it yourself?
No, I wasn't. I had my friend from San Diego actually came up and moved there, and he was doing it. But it's a bit of a cult following over there in Portland. So
gotcha.
Yeah, it's a good time.
Does the food truck still up there in Portland?
It's been changed probably 4 or 5 times. It was more of a stationary truck, because they make them. They put them in those blocks.
They plan them.
Yeah,
right.
They plan them. So it's been painted over probably 15 times since then.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, without further ado, Will, before the plumber gets here,
yes,
I'm gonna put you in the hot seat. Ike's interrogation, you're entering it. You know the rules. 5 questions. You get to plead the 5th once. If you don't plead the 5th, I hope you got a good question for one of us. Are you ready?
Okay.
You're all
right.
All yours, Ike.
I don't. We'll see. I don't think you'll plead the 5th. You're pretty honest and open, but we'll see. Question number 1: what actor would you cast?
I plead the 5th. I'm sorry. I just got so nervous.
Question number 2.
No.
That's good for Ike's confidence.
Okay, go ahead.
Ike hasn't been able to get anybody to plead the 5th, so that was good for his confidence.
Okay. So what actor would I cast? Sorry.
As as Bob Bradley in your hypothetical LAFC movie?
So I have some good ideas for this too, but I'd like to hear yours.
Oh, that's such a good one.
I know. Don't be wrong too, because Bob seems like a militant that might come after you when he sees you. So.
Oh, you know who I would do? I'd do a younger Robert Duvall, kind of.
Robert Duvall got too much hair
in the great Santini kind of phase. If you guys ever saw that movie,
I did not.
Marine dad.
Okay.
Who's
So my pick was Ed Harris.
Ed Harris is yep.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. Or Malkovich, John Malkovich.
That was that more time to think about it.
A weird, surreal portrayal of Bob Bradley.
We could do it inside Bob Bradley. Or what was it? Being Bob Bradley, right? Being John Malkovich. Was that the
Being
movie?
Bob Bradley.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Question number 2. Who would you take from the LA Galaxy roster to be on LAFC, and who would you return from LAFC to the Galaxy? And we can open it up to the last few years.
You might have to open it up because I'm just trying to think if the roster. Who is
we can help you with some Galaxy names.
Who is? Oh God, the really good playmaking forward or
Pavone.
Pavone.
Good player.
I'd take Pavone. Is he Uruguayan or is he?
He's Argentinian.
Argentinian.
I'm curious who you're going to send back. You got to send somebody in a similar position there. You got some superstars in that position. So
I would take Pavone, and I would send that crazy Honduran goalie we had that first year. Booba. I'd send Booba.
He played against Sporting Kansas City.
But I might send Booba for no one. We don't have to get anyone back. I mean, I know he's gone, but
is that a fair answer?
That's probably not fair. That's not fair because he's not on the team anymore, right?
I thought he was about to say Diego Rossi, and I was going to be wow.
We'll allow it.
Yeah, we'll allow it.
We'll allow it.
Question number 3.
I would send Jordan Harvey.
Oh wow.
We both actually went to college with Jordan. So
you did?
Yeah, we're UCLA, so we both play with him there.
Yeah, I'll send Jordan. He'll think that's funny.
Still a good answer.
Yeah.
Okay. Fan question. What is the one thing you wish you could change about LAFC?
The one thing that I could change.
That's a tough one.
I would actually, well, this is an easy question now to answer, but I would actually change the size of the stadium to more capacity, or at least have built it with the potential to expand it. Because I think they can a little bit, but it's not as much as you'd think.
How many people do you think you guys could regularly get to fill out the stadium?
I think you could get 30.
Yeah. I think it definitely can get 30. I mean, it's 22 and it's been pretty much sold out every game, right?
It's pretty much sold out, and just in like I said, I'm just still in that youth soccer world with all the boys, and the amount of kids and families and people who come up and are who say they try to go to a game but they haven't been able to. I think you could add another 8,000 people.
Yeah, that'd be cool. As long as you don't close down the skyline there to LA.
Yeah, exactly.
That's important.
That's a big part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, 3 questions, 2 to go.
Number 4.
Come on, give him a heater.
And I would also, the other thing I would change, and this is what I thought was originally going to happen. I would make the whole Ollie the Falcon who lands on the emblem of the opposing team.
Yeah.
I would train Ollie to rip that whatever the emblem is to shreds, like fill it full of like hamburger meat or something, so that when you landed on, whatever the Portland Timbers emblem, it would just get ripped to shred and there'd be blood and guts and everything like that. I would change that. Because I thought that was also going to happen, and then the falcon just gently lands on the thing.
What do falcons eat?
Falcons eat like rabbits and squirrels, and
just like throw a rabbit out there with a Portland Timbers jersey on.
And let nature, take over.
That's great.
All right. Question number 4. In terms of talent, rank these players on LAFC from first to worst.
I'm feeling I plead the fifth on this.
Let's see if we can. We'll see.
I'm curious to see the 4 that you're going to give them.
Okay. Atuesta, Rossi, Kay, and Vela.
Oh. Well, I'm probably not going to see any of those guys for a while, so so I think I'm pretty safe. I would say K 4th, Atuesta 3rd, Rossi 2nd, Vela 1st.
That's
pretty fair.
Accurate. Yeah, that's good.
Guys,
I mean, Carlos is a gimme, right? Carlos is a gimme.
That's fair.
The other 3 are tough. I mean, Mark's still really early in his career. So I guess all 3 of them are. All 3 of them are really early. So
so Mark Anthony,
and they're and different ways that they play too. So it's hard to put
Diego anything but 2 when he scores so many damn goals.
Crazy.
I don't know. Atuesta was a pretty.
I mean, Edwards a baller, dude. So is Mark, but
yeah.
But
so
it's also crazy how when those 2 guys aren't on the field, how the middle of the field, it's just not controlled the same way. So
the thing I'll say though is Diego's been the most consistent out of those 3 over the 2 years, easily.
2 years.
Edward was up and down the first year, and Mark got injured.
Yeah.
So Edward was up and down. He was fantastic last year. In my opinion, he was the second best player after Carlos last year. But Diego's been consistently scoring goals every.
All that I know that's going to is Mark Anthony K stinks according to Will Ferrell. That's all that matters.
Mark's a baller, dude. I back Mark any day of the week.
I do too, but not Will apparently.
Well,
clickbait.
But I would say he's
he's good.
The finest Canadian player
of the bunch.
He's the number 1 Canadian player on that list.
Oh God! All right, question number 5. Which one of your films would you burn in exchange for an MLS Cup, and why?
Which would I burn? Wow. Just the image of me like burning a movie. It's so
just
weird.
Straight up wish you never had done it. Just burn this one out of my
the old movie reels, dropping it in a fireplace.
Okay. Well, I will say that everything I've worked on, I've never had a moment of in the middle of it going, oh, I wish I hadn't done this, because they've all been great work experiences. But when you get a chance to go back and look at something, I remember flipping around, on cable and catching 10 to 15 minutes of Bewitched with me and Nicole Kidman. And I had a little pang of like, what was I thinking? And more in her defense, what was she thinking? Being in a movie with me. And I was like, oh, this thing just didn't work top to bottom. I don't know. Yeah.
So Bewitched.
The world would be a better place without Bewitched and LAFC with an MLS Cup, according to Will Ferrell.
Oh, and with the stakes being that high.
Yeah.
For an MLS Cup.
Right.
Okay, sure.
All right. Well, you've answered all 5 questions. Ike is yet again unsuccessful in getting someone to plead the 5th. So with that, Will, you get to ask any one of us a question we must answer honestly.
My question is actually for all 3 of you. What's the most vile substance that has been thrown or dropped on you from an opposing fan?
That's easy for me. A bag of pee from Panama. Bag of
yourself?
piss. Panama.
And is it just
It
warm
was
pee?
just yeah, it was just being thrown. I was kind of dodging them, you know.
And it was
there
a direct hit?
couple. Yeah, I also got a nickel got thrown at me in Canada, or I don't even know if it was. Yeah, it was actually an American nickel in Canada. Hit my knuckle when I was warming up.
How does anyone throw a nickel that far?
I don't know, and it hurt. It really hit my knuckle, and I was like, "What the hell just hit my knuckle?" Yeah, pretty strange.
Okay.
Mine was the same, but I think there was more in that pee bag than just. I'm confident, but it didn't hit me. I was same as Sal, ducking and dodging down in Argentina, actually youth under 20s.
Yeah, for me, I'm pretty sure it was when we played in Azteca for the U.S. and they were throwing, and honestly, it could have been anything. I mean, it could have been a mixture of piss with beer, or just the piss smelled like beer by now because they had drank so much. They threw batteries down. I don't think I ever got hit with anything though, but
it's
landed
just raining down.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's like 100,000 people?
That is close to 100,000 people. Yeah.
That's
I think
crazy.
it might be one of the biggest, besides maybe the Maracanã in Brazil. I think it might be the biggest stadium. So it was.
But even that, it puts you on edge, man, because you don't know what's coming at you. You're trying to focus.
I'd rather get hit with a bag of piss than a battery, though. Imagine a battery hitting you from like 20 floors up.
But you got to worry about all of that while you're trying to play, and that's a problem.
Big D battery? No way.
I'd
rather get hit with the soft piss. The
wet piss?
The wet bag of piss.
I think Landon one time got a banana thrown at him, and he like picked it up and ate it.
Yeah.
Just in an act of defiance. Yeah.
All right, Will. Well, we really appreciate you coming on the podcast. It was
real quick.
Thanks, you guys.
Real quick, Will, could I ask you a favor before? So I play for the San Diego Loyal. Is the USL team, the new team. Would you mind saying "You Stay Loyal, San Diego" in your famous Ron Burgundy voice?
Yes. Hold on. Let me get into character.
Okay.
Are you gonna howl now, Brown Cowards?
Unique New York. Wait, what am I supposed to say? You stay loyal?
You stay loyal, San Diego.
Okay. You stay loyal, San Diego.
Perfect.
All right, well, we really appreciate it.
Hey,
good luck
thanks,
with the toilet.
Yeah.
I swear to God, that's the plumber right on time.
And stay healthy there with quarantining, and then good luck the rest of the year once we start back up.
Thanks, Benny. Thanks, you guys
Will.
too.
Stay
safe.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Really.
Take care.